Thank you very much, James. Last time we'll be seeing the sandy shores of Miramar here in the group stage, as I did mention on Death. The last 2 matches will be played out on Erangel. But for now, the sands of Miramar may be the grave for some of these players. However, with 3 games still left to play, everything is on the line. Group B, game number 2 here in the final group stage. Martin, so far, Group A was pretty spicy this morning.
Yeah.
Group B looking a little bit more defined when it comes to Pro League teams.
It doesn't really, I mean, it's also what we kind of would have expected, right? A lot of teams are saying this is more stacked, blah, blah, blah. Yes, it's more stacked in the top. It's going to be harder for the contender teams to make it in there. And we just see a little picture there in the church. We're going to have a very Western playing, actually. It's going to be rough for some of these teams that want to make it over towards Impala, Lasaha, and even you have to long shoot if you want to go into Los Leones. At least go all the way.
How do you feel about the El Pozo play? Do you think this is ignorant for one of the 2 teams to keep going for it, kind of like we've seen before?
I think El Pozo was fine. It was more shareable in before they made the newest iteration of Miramar, where they moved some of the compounds away. But it's definitely, it's not Yasnaya.
It's not too much of a danger.
Yeah, it's not Yasnaya levels of shareable. So we'll definitely see some kind of some trouble. Some of these cars being stolen. You already see Winstrike here take some shots at Philo. He's going to go down to half HP, and obviously Ibiza mentioned it as well on the interview. They saw also Winstrikers down to 1 player, so obviously losing 1 player is going to be very hard for you going forward if you're in a 3v4 in the end or in a 4v4. So going into this, they don't want to lose any players. They need to play passive. Obviously, if they want to, they could kind of push them out, but I don't feel like it's worth it. We're going to have a very nice circle, though. It's very centralized around the power grid, Quickmath area here. They're going to be taking a lot of space if they want to. And already now, I'll say we're going to have an ending between El Pozo and somewhere around power grid. It's going to be very central. So what do you think?
For me, I mean, it's a good circle, right? We've only got a little bit of that western embankment in play, just the tip of the shark's fin, if you want to call it. So it will force it more towards that centralized area, as you did say. We do have a couple of inaccessible hills, very, very tiny ones, which we know sometimes it tends to ping-pong between. Overall, though, I mean, it's surprising already at this stage in the game to see so many teams in the circle, which you would kind of assume, generally speaking, people like to center up and move towards where Quickmath are going to be. Quickmath is very sparsely spread out, which denies quite a lot of capacity to put more teams in the middle and be aware for that shift. However, with so many teams already in the circle, there could be a few that decide to stay where they are, really heavily gear up, go for making sure everyone's on full level 2s, everyone's got a range weapon, scopes, meds, full gun attachments, which is not something we speak about too much when we speak about attachments, but making sure everyone's fully geared down and all the guns are fully decked out to take these long game fights. Real-time standings coming up on your left-hand side.
It's a funny thing you say that.
Go on.
Now, let's talk about this first. Winstrike jumped into 7th place with this. Let's talk about the other thing. We rarely get to do this. Attachments.
Gun attachments?
It's actually some of the questions that the pros get the most.
Yeah?
What attachments they prefer. And it's actually really, really fun, because obviously there's kind of the tendencies of the changes and everything. And here, recently we've heard, okay, so there has been changes to...
It's weird, isn't it? Patch 28.
That, yeah, there's been changes to the attachments, and they're like, no, it's not in the patch notes, but is it a placebo? What's happening, and what are the the preference going forward? And it's very personal, these preferences. I feel like some say that the vertical grip is no longer good anymore. You want to use a light grip instead. You want to use angled, half grip, whatever. There's multiple grips, multiple preferences, and honestly, for me, it's personal. Go in training mode. Make sure you test it out on your long range gun and in your close range gun. Especially if you prefer or you like playing with an SKS, for example, it's going to be kind of changes going into this, but it's very different. It'll probably won't be one of my favorite questions going into this. I want to ask all these players that are here, what is your preferred grip on an M4 right now?
See, this is the thing. Like, I've always been personally a vert boy. I used to call it a stick and a stock. Yeah. Put the stock on the back of it. Hold the. I mean, Christ, even 16s can have a stock now, which is, you get a stock. You get a stock. Everybody gets a stock. It's just upgraded so many weapons, and I think you're right. It's something we don't really touch on too much, just because there's not enough time and hours in the day to be able to do it. Again, I think this comes down to when we talk about front barrel attachments. You'll just see for us on the rotate. We'll continue on with this one for now until we get some major action. Could be a couple of bodies that fall out early rotation, but front barrel attachments, you know, it's very straightforward. Comp, flash, suppressor. But again, personal preference comes into it with the silencer. I love the sound of it. I think it makes me play better because in my mindset, it's a quieter gun. There's not enough going off in my head because there's a billion and one things going off in my mind at the time, and it throws me off. I focus more with a silencer and a suppressor. That is a big nade, you are right, so we'll avert his eyes and divert the conversation. We'll also divert the camera. Quick check-in with the arm. One player knocked on the opposing side of still, I believe it was Jambo Way, so you'd expect Zen to push in on this and claim the point. But yeah, it's a massive...
It's a
massive topic, and I think it's just a matter of playing. You get that personal thing. You're saying, all right, who's got this? Who's got an angle? Who's got a vert? Who's got
I think it's a very interesting thing. And I also heard some of the players, they're like, you know what? I'm not going to play with any attachments in my public games because then any attachment that I get will make me better. And that's very interesting. That like when you get to that level, you got like 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 hours. You're going to be like, you know what? I'm just going to drop all these attachments. So the gun is going to be, no matter what attachment I find in competitive, it's going to make me better.
Which is kind of funny when we talk about these pros that have been playing with potato PCs for God knows how many years. And all of a sudden they get a sponsor, they get upgraded to a 2-gram PC, and they finally can actually play on more than 30 FPS.
Some of the contender teams here, and I talked to them, they're like, oh my God, these PCs are amazing. But it's also like i9s, it's Titan XPs, it's insane RAMs. It's like extremely expensive PC, and it's just so smooth. On top of that, they're playing on a LAN build that's completely smooth. So all of these teams that come here, we've seen it a few other tournaments where there are players coming in. You know what? I'm used to playing at 20 FPS at home because I'm actually playing on a potato PC, and I come to LAN and this PC is amazing, and they just start fragging out because of that.
A Pentium 2 and a 520 GTX.
Yes, and a gaming chair, and you are instantly nearly a pro player, right? No, jokes aside, obviously the gear is gonna get you some performances and better, but
I understand that mindset, though. I like that. Don't play with anything. Try and learn the not necessarily spray pattern of the gun, because we know there isn't set spray patterns that are defined. But certainly controlling the spray and being able to reset your reticle. I think there's a lot to be said. Another deeper story when we talk about reticle reset, rather than just holding down left trigger and spraying away and trying to drag your mouse down. Resetting the ret can do, and kind of, I think, divides the boys from the men, so to speak, because it's a skill in its own right to control some of these weapons. And again, even when we look towards bolt action, some of these freaks that know how to ping the face of an enemy at 900 meters, like, it's jaw-dropping. And I'm in awe of some of these players, and it takes a hell of a lot of time to get used to it. And yeah, we said it yesterday, the proof's in the pudding. The more hours you put into these and the more practice with the guns and everything else that goes on in PUBG, the more it shows. Bye vehicle.
That's a tire.
Jumps through the air.
60. Shots are coming out, tip, tap, tap. Enemy Lordbro is going to be found. Shots are coming in from the northern side. The FaZe is going to steal that away from 60. And FaZe Clan needs it. They're currently 2 points behind in 8th place. Perfect kiss. Is he just going to stay in there?
He's trying to hide, right?
Shots are coming in on Miacho as well. Who also has been found by Avel in another spot. Uber is going to find Miacho and going to blow him up. So that's 2 points. And now FaZe Clan are going to be tied with Zoekt and Naam in terms of points, but they have more kills, so they're going to be ahead from that. Brexco with some shots onto Mikas. Oh, he popped the back tire.
Oh, he's off. He's just going to get away with his life. There's 2 players literally looking down the scope, just laying into him from this angle. Mikas will be able to put the smokes up, stay alive for now. I'm interested to see if that one player is actually still inside the car, because
look at that TSM.
Nobody knocked him.
Yeah.
If that player is still in the car upside down, that's a 9,000 IQ player. Just hope that nobody sees you. The rest of ENCE will try and center up a little bit. It's not quite center, as you can see on the map. They are more easternly based alongside G2. Chris on top of the hill in front of them, playing a little bit of a spoiler zone. Not quite central, a little bit more weighted to the northeast. So, and what's scary, and how many times do we frigging see this, Martin? The rarity. The circle centered up, there are literally 4 players outside in the white.
Yeah, that's very rare.
That's insane.
It's a bit more common when you have these kind of the central circles where all have the kind of the easy access, but in second phase, that is nuts.
You never see
it's
that.
Very rare.
Oh, sorry, 5 players. So 1 from 3D Max and 4 from... That's mental.
So he just made it in. So actually only right now it's Zoekt and Naam. It's outside. The circle just pops. So this is going to be a very mid-game heavy in terms of frags, in terms of kills, in terms of fights. And we're just going to be talking very, very fast coming into the later stages of the game. And that's a nice kickflip in a car. And look at that. He actually saved it. Udio and Kane with the rotations. It's Chris is still alive. So G2 might be able to have a very good game from this. They have a decent position at least. That's what I'm basing that off. They're getting into a nice location here in the zone. Very central in a kind of a power location. Another flip here, another kick flip. Shots are coming back here with the support from Mitch Chris. And it seems to me that Udyr and Kane is going to be making it away from this little flip here.
A strong line grab in the middle for Quickmath. I know they're not on screen. You can keep going through this and Martin can chime in when something happens, but I'll talk about what's going on off screen. Quickmath have gone for the power grid, but they've opted to go in a 2-2 split, which is dangerous, but also brazen. They put two in the front side of the building where you have the elevated line of sight. And you can look through the post box, essentially. You've got a good amount of defense because none of your body's on show, only your head. You can stick the gun over the side. So you're basically a turret. As I say, that one player does fall from the opposing side. If NIP, who are just lingering, by the way, to their right and on screen to the left, if they decide to push a four-man stack either end of this power grid, then Quickmath are going to be completely outgunned, outmanned, and outnumbered. So it's dangerous, it's brazen, but I suppose it does keep the entirety of the power grid locked down to their own. You've got to be decent, you've got to be you have to trust in your own skill to do that. 3D Max making an advancement here on screen. The Joker's set up, ready to accept the challenge if they need to. Gustav in the distance, so this will be San Martin up on the hillside. That's a nice cheeky headshot, and again, because of where he is, you can use the broken wall to your advantage. There's a couple of buildings up here that you might want to try and extend further your eye line. You just have to be careful because off the backside of this, teams have a tendency to flank up rather quietly and sneakily because you have a huge, very huge angled hillside that you can just walk around and basically deny any line of sight. But TSM's been smart. They put two up front and two behind. The two behind, Michael and Rory, are keeping the remnants of ENCE in check. There's Trefeli and Squeaky. Rustenmar's gone down to the old Liquid rotate compound just outside Picardo. Liquid have gone off the backside of NIP and Quickmath. Again, they're in a 2-2 split. So the most open area at the moment is definitely the north, but all these players are centering up and hoping it goes their way because you've kind of got like this ball effect. This huge cliff face that goes around and swings from San Martin all the way down to Picardo.
This is also some of the areas that are very... It has some terrain cover, it has some, but there's not a lot of natural cover in terms of rocks, in terms of cactuses and anything you can play later. So you're going to need a lot of smokes. Woogie here, 4 nades, no smokes, so he's not going to be able to throw a smoke at some of his knocked teammates. You might want to trade or share that a bit later. Jokers could be gatekeeping a little bit more of 3D Max here if they want to cross, depending on this next shrink. And it's going to go north.
Oh, that's the one place they didn't want it to go because there's...
Probably the roughest one, considering how many teams are in the south. You just said this before. Rotation's already going to be coming up from ENCE here. They're going to be making a very nice rotation on the eastern side, probably coming up on the north. Look at this, Zoekt and Naam on the western side, also very fast to grab their vehicles and sprint, basically, on the northern side. Because right now, if you cut the circle in half, the current circle in half, there's nobody on the 50% on the northern side of the circle.
And this is kind of something that we've been theorizing, right? When you look above Picardo, you have all this rough terrain, this hillside, the inaccessible areas on the top of the mountain. So the circle has basically shifted away and avoided them. NLT Quizzy, he might be the last player for Northern Lights, but he's picking up points. Mollman hits the deck off the back of the bike, job done. Picks it up, but now all of a sudden, they'll turn and face up. You poke the bear, and you get the claws. Sigzy says, thank you.
Nice shot there.
And stuff you. Down he goes. So they'll go get his gear, collect and do what they can. Probably check Mollman's box as well to pick up anything. But we're talking about the circle because you've got these hills above Picardo. This is why it's shifted away from them to avoid landing on any inaccessible terrain. Crate comes down, and it's a Groza. The next fight we have to watch out for, Martin. FaZe Clan and Liquid. Both of those were down in the south.
Yep.
Two Titan teams about to go head-to-head.
And this is going to be interesting here. Fuzzface has already found James. Also, another fight's going to happen soon. It's going to be Jokers and 3D Max. Here we see, though, Liquid seems to be pulling away from this. James is holding this kind of the container area on the northern side or on the top side. Tixu has found Page. On the other hand, that's far away. Actually, very far away. It's about a 500-meter shot. He found him from over here. You see that with the quick there. Next, he's going to find James. Shots are coming in, and he's going to be leaving soon.
Run, Jimmy, run. Two of them in the back of the vehicle. One of them pretty tanked up. I think it's Jimbo.
Yep.
So makes you would expect him to continue this one through. Tags him for 18, but doesn't solidify. In fact, tags both players. Samti's already set up for the defensive, so they hit the ditch. They're inside. It
It's
might
gonna
have
be
the
a rough. Look at
yeah,
this.
I mean, the problem with this ditch that's always been for me in any kind of ditch is the fact that any grenade, generally if they hit the back wall and go too far, it will just roll down towards you. It's a bit of a magnetized area. Grenades, they'll either roll over down your hill or they hit the back wall, roll back towards you. Quickmath's already there to their right-hand side. Also got Seekorg and FaZe Clan are still yet to make their move.
I'm actually curious to see what move FaZe Clan is going to make here, because they know that Liquid was in all there already, and they should be making kind of a rotation around, because we had an Northern shift, and obviously this is hindsight, but based on the information that is available to them, they know that Liquid stopped kind of close. They heard the fights between Quickmath and NIP from an audible cue, so they know there's a lot of teams here on the southern side, based on the information that they have been able to gather from themselves. InsideGames though in rotations. Meanwhile, the third phase is closing, and we're going to see the fourth zone very soon.
The issue that I see, oh my lord, that is a big
TSM is laughing.
yoink to the north. The one thing that you mentioned over FaZe about the rotate, I don't think they've got any vehicles, because they were wandering early on. They were actually chasing on foot the Liquid fight.
Yeah, they probably left them behind, but yeah, I mean, at still here, now we go from phase 3 to phase 4, so it's going to go from 1 damage to 3 damage per second, so now it's too late, but before that, obviously they tried to kind of pull up or run up onto Liquid.
And a half.
This is 2 hard shifts on top of each other, and TSM has read this perfectly. With the first hard shift there's a likely chance that the northern side is not going to be occupied or as occupied, so they managed to get a very good land grab from this, and they're already holding down the kind of the north in the 2-2 split. Very nice. Jokers though, just on the southern side of this new circle here. Quickmath, Liquid though, they're going to be fighting this. Oh, Sam's just going to take down Pelch. Shots are coming out from Mise. Sam's just going to take down Mise as well, and fights are already going between Team Liquid and Quickmath.
Third party tries to get involved. I don't think Liquid have actually lost any players here. Oh, as soon as I say that, no, they've got 2 knocked, but they've not been confirmed yet. There's still 1 member of Quickmath, Lenzo. Jokers decide to get involved at the right time, so they steal them. They clean up the bodies crawling on the floor and claw a few points back.
Ooh,
2 members
nice
of Quickmath that actually dinks him in the head inside the car. The car will get in the leather defensive. The grenade was in hand. The problem is, for Liquid, it's kind of a rock and a hard place scenario. You want to take the fight up against Quickmath, but you have basically been pinned in by the Jokers and 3D Max. They have such a line of sight because of all of the buildings in San Martin, even across the road. It might be a smaller building, but with the big bay windows.
Yeah.
This is problematic, to say the least.
Smokes are coming out here. Defensive smokes from Team Liquid. Jokers, they're going to be pushing on this. They want to punish this. Quickmath currently struggling. And in the northern side, they're not inside the zone. They will have to either push on Liquid or run up the hill. If they run up the hill, they're going to be looking at having FaZe in their backs. Nice nade here. Sam's just going to be taken out to nothing. Nades are returning here. Trifly has found Michael. Meanwhile, there's Seekorg here is taking a fight. They're going to be fighting with Winstrike.
Lenzo's clipped, caught, down, dead. He's out. Mexi will seal the deal. 2 SLRs looking at him, and Fuzz as well. So a point goes their way. Seekorg here in the grenades. They find 2. That's a decent one. Timmy and Tixu, 2 for 1. Happy days. Uber comes in, sneaks one off the back of Quickmath, and they are gone. 15th place for them. Tixu has been confirmed. The grenades will keep on flying through the air. And this is the, between these 2 rosters that are fighting on your screen at the moment, this is the battle from Pozo that has continued out throughout these circles, being pushed forward. Yeah. Essentially just following one another.
It's very, very peculiar also, because Seekorg and Winstrike, they're coming from the northwestern side, and they're staying on the northwestern side here. Basically coming directly into the zone in a position where, kind of from power, but basically straight from where the location was. FaZe Clan, meanwhile, is going to be pushing on to Liquid. Jokers are still inside kind of the compound they have here. They will be having to cross the road later. Shots are coming in from Yamash.
This is kind of paid off. I think this is a bit bizarre to stay on this side of the road while everyone else is moving. But it seems to have worked out. They can basically hold him at gunpoint. Jorski answers back. 1, 2, 3. Good lord, he's just gone to town on Seekorg. What the hell just happened?
He just absolutely annihilated those. Ferrex is going to be the last player standing, and this is in the zone, so this is a nice play from him. Basically, they tried to get in there. Jorski defied that, so... And they're taking damage here. You just want to finish that out. That's 1, that's 2. Nice points here from Jorski. Definitely capable of this. So new zone has popped. It's very central. Let's talk about that a bit later here. Gustav is going to be taking some shots onto ENCE. Noogie found Balos, or finished him off. Gustav found Squeaky and finished him off as well. 4 kills so far for Winstrike. 3 of them is for Jorski. This is a nice angle.
Oh my god, this is going to be a dirty play if he gets this kill. If he 4v1s them, that's absolutely disgusting. What a 9,000 player to jump up and out. Joski does get actually clipped from a different angle. And Furax turns around and a pinhead sees him. And Zoekt and Naam, unfortunately, put a spanner in the works there for Winstrike. They're taken down in 14th position. Samty finds Fuzzface. All TSM's back up alive and kicking all 4 members. Still on the battlefield, now the rotate comes through. InsideGames caught in no man's land. MBS on the reload, and just look at all these bullets pelting down their way. Furax, not too much more he can do. Zen again, the team that defied both of the rosters that came from Pozo. InsideGames dead, confirmed, and you know what? So is FaZe Clan, 12th position. That is not gonna cut it, boys, not on the final day of groups.
No, they will have 2 more games to try to get some more points. G2 with some pushes here on InsideGames. Sampay's going to be going down. Udyr with another nade, but it's going to be his teammate Chris. He's going to be going down from that. Unfortunately, I'm going to try to get him picked up here, but a fight in San Martin and all these players, they will have to leave this just in a minute. Some of the parts of the town is still in, but it's probably going to be going away from them. 3D Max is still in there. Jogers is still in there. G2, InsideGames. Some of ENCE is still in here. Kaint is looking to try to get some more kills. Senix here with the kind of the hold from this. He must have known that Chris has been knocked by his own teammates, so they're holding this. Maybe try to pick it up. Maybe try to finish that kill and get that extra point. InsideGames currently sitting down on the bottom half of the table. Kaint will try to pick up Chris here. Meanwhile, we see Jokers on the bottom here. They're trying to push onto Liquid. Nades are coming out. Pyjamas is going to go down to half HP. Brishko is going to find Rustenman. Nades are coming out again.
Rustenman's dead. Miramar still wants to try and find some more. Gemsy, that's right under his feet. However, IG hold the line. Drefeli goes down, ENCE are out 11th place. Chris also back on his feet and healing up, but the bullets come from nowhere. That's at a different angle. The nade this time doesn't confirm Chris. It actually confirms Ostrilovac, I believe is the way to say it.
Sixy is part of the group, one of us. He's literally one of us right now. Look at this. He's just behind Jokers. How did this happen? Are they...
If they get the car, they'll run him over. Imagine that. Imagine that.
And he has this. It's because he has this yellow suit.
Oh, he goes. Still going for it. It's not to break you off behind. Chris is down, so 4 rows. And again. Oh, what the?
Are you actually kidding me? How is this real?
Get him, Sixy. Go on, run him over.
Take him.
Run him over.
Finish him off with the barrel. Yep.
I don't believe it.
Liquid's going on. Meanwhile, in 9th place now. Jokers, they're going to be fully aware of this. They're going to be nading this car. 60 nades coming in here. He's down to 33 HP. Another nade's going to be coming in. He's going to be finished with that. That's the tap. And 60 is going to be tapping out. And he's going to be going down in 8th place.
Really quick one. It was an important fight for G2. FaZe Clan was literally knocking on the door, that qualification position, but G2, with them going down in 12, have now jumped up into 8th place. Make that 9 as NIP will take out Zen, and the opposing side, Gaxi falls back to a crate that's just been gifted to him. Uses it for cover. You can already tell it's been used for the simple fact there's gear on the floor. Level 2, G2 continuing the push. All 4 members up. Phantom held back on his own. Should be jumping out the back of this building and looking for Wago to give him support. Wago certainly been performing quite well so far this week. We've seen some wonderful stuff from 3D Max. I think they're on their 2nd or 3rd win at least. Up there at the top in 2nd, the French boys have really put on a show. Let's see if they can survive this one. All 4 members of G2 knocking on the back door. Michael finds a Reki. He's down. He's dead. Esalant does the job. Another point towards TSM.
TSM's been a great game so far here.
Hey, they need it, mate.
The real team standings there. They're down in 14th place right now. More fights coming in here. Michael's going to find Vasco. That is Zoekt and Naam out in 7th place. And TSM make their way into the top 6. Wago here with a double knock onto Brexco and Udyr.
That's disgusting. He held point for so long, he needs to get the confirmation on there. And usually would say, why are you going for the confirmation? Because his teammates will be feeding information to the rest of them. You delete them, you give away the option for the line of sight, and they now can't call out where he is. So G2 have just been completely shredded by 1 player, down to 50%.
Oh, Kobe?
What
Kobe!
An absolute banger.
That's an insane nade. Literally the most perfectly. Well, obviously, they knocked him. I think it was them that knocked him as well. So 3D here in a 2 versus 3 now after this amazing clutch from Wago.
That's what happens when you grow up in Newcastle.
Oh,
you have to be ready to swing your fists. Rory finds Apocalypse.
And look at this. TSM now has the whole northern side. NIP is going to be pushing onto the Jokers. 3D is going to be fighting with G2. Gaxi has found the tap and is going to be completely finished off. NIP in a pretty decent spot here for this kind of on the side. They're going to be shooting onto Jokers. Moon is going to be found, and Jokers is out in 5th place. Phantom is going to find G2, and G2 is going to be annihilated by 3D Max.
Do you want to know what's quite wild about this? If TSM get the win, they would essentially jump 6 places into the top 8. This could be an absolutely huge game for TSM. 3 teams alive, 11 individual players. TSM know exactly where 3D Max are. They are inside the buildings, but NIP, it's been this quiet monster so far with all 4 players alive and kicking. They could get round the back of TSM and play spoiler here. 3 members tucked into a corner, looking down for all the remnants of 3D to come out of San Martin. NIP kind of have the low ground, but the open ground, more importantly, to play off the back of. There's no real
NBS.
Aggression that could come from them. Is he going for a crit?
Yeah, Heaton just ordered this.
He might as well.
NBS is going to find it. It's going to be a 15x. He can read people's minds with this.
It's
and
like
he can even put it on M249 if he wants to. But full level 3 for him, M249, of course, he's going to swap. It's one of the best guns, if not the best gun, in terms of close range fight. 100 bullets, a bit more damage.
Don't say that in front of Lauren. She doesn't like it.
She doesn't like the M249?
No.
She should play it a bit more. It's very good. Michael here, 5 kills for TSM so far, top 3 position for them, so that's basically 10 points guaranteed in this game alone. Okay, see, he's also got an M249, yeah, and a full level 3 because he got that before.
Oh my god.
So he's sitting in a decent position. And I like this spot here from NIP. They have a high ground, they have a low ground, so they can play both depending on the next circle. We only have 1 more phase to go, so this is kind of interesting here. But 3D Max has found NIP. If this, though, goes away from San Martin and the last building that 3D Max has available to them, this is going to be a big cluster of them just running towards 2 teams that just wants the kills, because TSM is on a completely different side than NIP, so they're just going to be both focused on 3D Max, and we're probably going to be seeing a full 4 versus 4 if that happens, and if 3D Max do not have some cover here in the last phase. All of them in kind of 3 great positions, but 3D Max definitely has the lower hand in terms of position and defense going into this last zone here.
Going for the 2-2 split. TSM know exactly where 3D Max are, but I mean, it's so scary when you see Gaxi and MBS basically just holding the low ground with level 3 gear and 249s. Like,
the bipods are out.
Literally, exactly. I mean, laid down, was it like an 80% less deviation or something ridiculous when you lay down?
Yeah.
The bipod comes out and just gives you that.
Literally in the end zone.
Like, I mean, that's why they lay down, right? For the simple fact that they have the 249s, you get the extension VAD. Will just clip TSM, give them a warning shot. Circle has gone away. 3D need to make a run here, but Michael, he's the first one to hit the deck. Gustav also forced back. Wookiee's on his own. I don't think he realized the encroaching monster. VAD and Miracle up there on his own. The snake in the road. Actually, the snake off the road with 2 players still. MBS and Gaxi just holding it down. Really don't have to do too much. Big opener from Wookiee, answers back, catches 1. There is a response from Miracle.
See, we saw he had 4 nades, 3 or 4 nades before, so if you throw a nade at the direction there, that's going to come out.
This will be massive. If TSM push on this and eliminate 2 members of NIP, this basically gives them the northern edge of the circle. Yeah. This could be huge. They're making an advancement here. They're holding down the angle, looking through the smoke. 1 grenade would do the job. Gustav, up, over. Does it bounce? Does it land? It gets them! It clips the Miracle with an inch of life.
Phantom. Phantom's going to find Miracle as well. This is going to be detrimental. Both kills could be stolen as well from this. Look at this. Both VAD and Miracle is going to be taken away, even though it was Gustav with the knock.
It's still good enough. Even though TSM didn't get it, it's still done the damage.
The nade here.
Nip have just been broken apart.
Completely. And TSM is going to be 4 guys standing. Meanwhile, 2 from NIP and 3 from 3D Max. Look at this here. The high ground play from TSM. Depending on how they play this going forward. Guys, he's just ready.
Scary. Oh, 3D. They don't realize what's in front of them. Finally, the 249 will ring a bell. Give everyone a quick warning. And again, you got to think, okay, well, he's wearing level 3 gear. The problem is, and it might be really confusing here. You don't expect 2 249s to be on one team, right? So you might be suggesting, okay, there's a player there. If this player with the other 249 kicks off, you'll think he's repositioned. There could be a huge amount of confusion here of where these 2 players actually are. When you think about it mentally, you just don't expect 2 249 staring at 3D Max with 3. NIP split their resources. Unfortunately, they were taken down by a huge grenade from Gustav, which forced them out into the open down to 2. TSM, the ones that have to do the work here. Now, for NIP, they may only be down to 2 and have the least, but they have the ground. They have the central plateau Everybody now has to come to them. This is their server. We're living in it. However, they dictate what happens.
Nades are going to be coming out here. Defensive smokes are going to be deployed going forward for this. It's going to be slowly moving. Nice nade here. That's going to take down one of the players. It's a very low HP, 7 HP from Wookie.
Surely you can see him if he crouches up. He's actually on the shoulder.
Look at
peak.
3D Max. They're pushing onto TSM.
This is insanity, but also a huge play. Quick jiggle peek does the job. MBS opens up onto Wookie. That's another headshot as well. Michael, 2 members of TSM fall back to back. They need this game to get out of that dead zone beneath. Gustav comes up, says goodbye. And IP is gone, they're dead. And all of a sudden we're into a 2 versus 3. 10 kills for 3D Max. The French have come to play here. No prisoners in the group stage whatsoever. It looks like TSM will try and rally the troops, get themselves back together. This is nice though from Rory. He's been a point.
Oh! He's found one. He's able to find another. Wookie did not manage to get up and be saved here, but Gustav is going to be making his way in. Roy is making his way down to the smoke here. He's going to be found by Wacko. He's going to be trying to spray this. He's going to be taking him down. That's 3D Max with another win. This is 3 wins for 3D Max. What an amazing play from them. 12 kills.